I'm about 30 miles south of Big Sur. We're over here looking at a place I used to live. Right there on that hillside. If we look a little closer, we'll see the barn. There it is, off on the left. Next to that, there's a couple little cabins, where there used to be. That's back when I had my crop. I picked a spot on that little hilly knoll there, just back a ways, near the woods. Next to the draw. For some reason, there was always a nice little spring, just in the draw. I could draw water from that. As it turns out, I put my patch just a little too close to town. As it turned out, I did get a good deal on the dope that I grew. It was a grower from that hill over there that caused the amazing brawl of 1976, our bicentennial year. There's where my old mailbox was. Wasn't much, but that'd make you feel important in them days to have a mailbox here. But alas, it isn't there anymore, and I could care less. But I still feel some loss about a fallen mailbox. Before the riprap, one could come down and find on this beach huge quantities of jade and small quantities of gold. And I was up here where I'm photographing now, just above this beach. And this pullout on the side of Highway 1 had my little stand-up, and I was selling jade. It all came down here, one late evening, foggy dusk, in Gorda. Before the road fell in, and they built this big retaining wall, before the road was straight, well, there still was a hill there, a little rise. The cafe known only at night as the Jade Cafe. Before the tour buses, in early September, there was always a Southern Big Sur marketing convention here. The Big Sur Holy Weed Festival fell apart that evening, and that left just the big three. The independents had to pay a tithe or leave the area. And of course, the crop was only to be picked in a week. I guess really, the big story is that after this visit, I know that what happened then had little meaning for what happens now. And if I don't want to, I never have to go back to Gorda again. But you know, somehow, I'll always be wanting to go there. The Gorda I remember. Just down the coast from Big Sur. After the breakdown of the independent coalition, I moved here. Pacific Valley. Just up there. Is the only independent retailing outlet left. It's no longer there. I was told down in Gorda by a very rude lady that it burned down several years ago. Every canyon, every draw had its own set of growers. It was a bumper crop coming up that year. If it hadn't been for the collapse of the Independent Growers Association, the price would have held. But the big three were muscling in. Things were becoming tense. It was a precarious time for us. Well, for some people,
well, I know I can be strong.
Highway 1's just another road to go on and look at things. For me, today, the way I see things, it's just another road for me to Silicon Valley, to my pre-IPO job in San Jose.
Well, I know I can be strong. Oh, and I can take care of me. Oh, and I will not suffer long. Oh, there are many people like me, but seeking a new way. And I want to tell you now, my friend, I'll be there on the right day. Walk with you to glory. Oh, on the road to inner peace.
Oh, we got somebody fighting it for us.
Really? Oh, right on, let's go.
Oh God, it's tight.
What do you think? Oh. Me too, us too. Come on.
Can you go forward a little bit so I go through? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wave the camera.
On the goddamn phone.
Oh.
I mean,
There's my feet. Oh my God. All right, we're gonna go around the gym now. There's
that was a
Jim.
big problem. Now that lady was on the phone and could have cared less that I wanted to turn left.
And that you live here or your friends
Yeah,
live
she
here.
could be actually in the way of commerce. We're going by the boneyard of an old fleet I used to work on. Shrimp fleet here out of Newport, Oregon. Not much left of the fleet. Let's go take a closer peek. Used to be packed with fishing gear of all kinds. Thievery at sea, I believe, is what led to this fisherman to mark his pot so brightly. And the loading and unloading cranes stand idle here at Newport. We're remnants of a once large fishing fleet. Strive to make a meager living. But through time, some things remain. And here, I've located it. A knot that I tied 23 years ago on this post. Remains here today. Proud reminder of a visit earlier. Way, way, way earlier. I had no money. I got picked up on this boat up in Westport, Washington, and they were going to return to Westport, or so they said. And after we left port, they made a straight run south all the way down to Newport. And when I got off the boat, I'd made $27 for like a week's and a half's worth of work. This made me a local folk hero. At least for that summer, I was a folk hero. And it all was the big payoff came here, inside the Barge Inn, where I believe, back in its day, there was a pool table, and that's where the winnings piled up. And of course, they still have the same kind of clientele. Great. And actually, there were two tables in here. And this is the table that Travis lost the shot in the corner and $50. I didn't get it on tape, but the lady wouldn't take a credit card, so I'm not gonna be able to have my beer there. But there's another place right down the road here. It was a gambling joint and everything, and we didn't go in there and lose our money. But that is where the knot tricks took their toll on the local fishing population. Please excuse me for my earlier. I identified the wrong building, and it was the Pip Tide. And inside here is where, after taking money off the pool table down at the last place, I departed there and walked the long distance down to the Pip Tide. By the time I came through these doors, I'd made about $150 down on the table at the last place. And Travis, he was tailing along. And he was a little guy, and man, he had a real little temper. But I had a trick. Back in the day, this bar was hopping. No matter what time of day you came in here, there would always be folks. And word of the knot on the post had spread. On this bench here, in the midst of a crowd, I was challenged to tie another knot. It was a big boy from the Bering Sea, and he said, "You know how to tie a carrot, man? I'll bet you $5 I could tie one faster than you." Back in the day, this place was filled with gamblers, and upstairs here was loaded with gamblers. And this is where the final showdown took place between Travis and the big boy from the Bering Sea. It's pool tables now. We were sitting around an unused blackjack table at the time. And to make things work smoother, I'd lost the first knot tying rounds to the big boy from the Bering Sea. But his buddies, who wanted to show that they could do the knot as well, all fell victim, and some for much more than $5 simple. So the big boy was bragging about it, and he was headed over to here, down the steps, back to the bar. As he descended these steps, on the top rung, he turned and he faced us at the table and said, "I'm the only one that can tie a carrot bend in this bar." Took Trav's attention immediately, and he got up and said, "What, are you scared? For 100 you can do it again or I'll kick you." A fight ensued with rope, fists, and blood down to the bottom of the stairs. And poor Travis spent the night in jail for that. Well, last time I was in Newport, I stayed for a couple days. And even though I came here with $27, I left with, I don't know, about $400, $500. All because of the carrot bend trick. Maybe I'll show you that in a future episode. But as you can see, my stay here in Newport's almost over. Probably 2 more steps. Well, heck with all this remembrance stuff. It's back onto 101 South to the Silicon Valley. Pre-IPO job. Then there's this story about Bob, who was up on a ladder while he was painting this, whitewashing the building actually, before Newport had decided to dress up its waterfront. And that's for another time, on another day. I came back in several times that summer. And that's how I know that Travis got out of jail. That I became a local folk hero. For not only the knot on the piling, but the unusual trick of how to tie a carrick band quickly. So I never came through these jaws again. That's what they call them here in Newport, at least in the day when I was here. And it's obvious why they call them jaws. It's one long, long trip out to the end of the jaws before you get to the sea. But inside the jaws is the protection of the Yakina Bay. And that's why Newport is here.
Well, I know I can be strong.
For what happens now. But if I don't want to, I never have to go back to Gorda again.
Walk with you, glory.
But you know, somehow,
Oh, on the road
I'll always be wanting to go there.
Oh, and I can take care of me. Oh, and I will not suffer long.